All right. We should start the show with that, but we're going to start by saying, welcome to Sufficient Funds. Isn't that nice to hear that phrase, sufficient? It
Fun.
doesn't sound like you're killing it, but it's sufficient. How was your work? It was sufficient.
I'm satisfied.
Yes, C plus. Now go to the 8th grade. Welcome to Sufficient Funds. I'm Al John when this airs, but I mean, people watch things in their own time in this streaming world. Master P has a documentary on No Limit. I believe it's 6 episodes, just talking about how the whole thing got started. I had these thoughts about Master P before I saw the documentary, but it was even more solidified after I saw it. I was like, was Master P actually doing social media and branding and understanding algorithms on the street 25 years before that happened on the internet? Because you think about him selling records out of the trunk. First of all, you got to know when people get paid. When do you stand out there? Friday afternoons. What do people want? And he started putting the gold tank on there. Branding. If you get this CD, this is by No Limit. Everything else is bootleg.
I mean, that's like that. That's a dude watching trends.
Yeah.
That's a dude watching flow of like how, like you said, money and where to be and how to catch a consumer.
Right.
I mean, that's guerrilla marketing that turned into a staple.
I mean, it clearly worked because I remember homies would get No Limit CDs, and this is back before you could go on the internet and find. They would know who the rapper was.
Mm-hmm.
It would just be like Chopper City, and you just be like, I think I know who he is, but you just got it because it had that gold tank on it.
Yeah.
And I mean, that just shows you the power of branding, because now you could get that same album, pull it up on your computer and be like, oh, it only has 2.5 stars. And but like when you're straight buying things, especially on the street where you can't push stop funds, like when you paid your hard-earned cash for that, you're paying for a brand because not only have they satisfied you in the past, but also because having that gives you a little bit of clout. Like, oh, you ain't up on this?
Right,
like,
right.
I got this. How do you not have this?
Well, I mean, this dude was so good at branding. I mean, he basically made collector's items in real time.
Yeah.
I mean, remember having to get like it. I mean, and they were dropping CDs 2 a week sometimes.
Yeah. 2 a week. He flooded.
You know what I mean? Like, you might get Fiend and Mia X on the same day.
Bruh. Really? And it was like one of those things you kind of had to have because it was a cultural symbol that like you knew who the hottest rappers were and you had it before anybody else, because cats would be trying to burn your CDs. I know we're scaring the young people, but it was a big deal to get a hold of these CDs. And you look at the empire he built and you think about Master P, think about his life. A lot like almost LeBron James 1.0, in that like one of the most famous rich black men, no scandals. Think about that. Like, you never saw Master P stumbling out of a strip club at 4 a.m, drunk,
very always high. I mean, all we really had is that brief moment in the NBA. That's it.
Where he balled.
He had a good game.
Points.
He did okay. It's like you leverage him. He went from the trunk and 10 years later went to like not even 10. Probably that was probably like 6 years. In the league, what did he play for Charlotte? Real quick,
he played an exhibition game for the Raptors, and I noticed because I looked at it, and it's not like, you know,
I was there when they played Atlanta.
Oh, really?
I sat courtside.
Yeah. So I mean, and he could play.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like he kind of did it right. And again, you start talking about branding. I think him not having scandals, him being a street dude, but not associate himself with street life, made it so that he could not only finance his own projects, but also have the clout, the financial backing, and the reputation to be able to have other entities attach their name to him without getting a lot of pushback. Because what can you really say about Master P? He did it on his own. He's never hurt anybody as far as the law knows, as far as anybody knows. And, you know, he's been a great businessman before that was a thing. So I really do like sit back in awe and appreciate how he was able to kind of keep that keep that balance, because he was never considered like a dude that, you know, was air quotes soft. Like no one thought that they could roll up on Master P, but at the same time, he never felt the need to like, you know, fire his gun off in the air in a nightclub or something to let people know that he's holding out. He didn't even strike me as a nightclub kind of guy. I think he was at home planning his next move, and I think he's worth 250 million, something like that. So he doing all right.
Yeah, I mean, like, and, you know, he didn't have that story of blew it all and, you know, got to build it back up. I mean, he was very smart the entire time. And I mean, there are probably a lot of people with grassroots businesses or that learned a lot from him that we probably don't even realize. I mean, because you know, I mean, he's one of those dudes that has always owned his own masters.
Always. I didn't know what people meant until Lil Wayne started rapping about that. But you look at like the R. Kelly documentary. The reason that they were allowed to play all of his hit songs in a documentary that was killing him was because he didn't own any of his masters. He didn't own it, so they can play all his hits on a documentary that was eventually going to put him in jail. If that don't give you some incentive to own what you write, a lot of people are starting to realize, like, you know, to understand this whole business world, you just can't. And this is the other thing I want to bring up. Like, do you remember like when Vistaprint was allowing people to have their own business cards, and everybody would give you a card and it would say CEO of Doing It Big Baby Production?
Yeah. At Yahoo. And
at Yahoo.
It's just, you just got a phone. The back still say Vistaprint.
Yeah, because you didn't pay for the glossy.
You didn't pay $5 for the glossy. You just got, you had free cards with the shipping. 100%. Everybody had that. And I was gonna say too, is like, because Master P is super interesting, and anybody who follows suit with a business model that ended up working as well as his did. A lot of people just have a product that's great. A great product, don't know how to get it out there, don't know how to monetize it, and don't know actually how to run a business. I mean, everybody knows somebody's like, I got a friend who makes unbelievable cakes. Unbelievable. I mean, don't know how to do business.
Right.
You know what I mean? But they don't know how to market. They don't know the basics. And it's just, you got the product and people want it. How do you get it to them? And like, sometimes that's the block and people don't know how to do it. And Master P did everything at once. I mean, almost like he kind of came. I mean, even for me, I'm a little younger than you, but to me, P just popped. It was like I didn't know about him, then I knew everything about him.
Right.
You know, it kind of came out of nowhere. So that's how you have to own it and watch the trends and get yourself out there, because that came from New Orleans East quick.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it. Look at the guys that have been incredibly successful. Now, Birdman he's had controversy because people have said he didn't pay. I don't know anything about that. Not my business. But, you know, you look at somebody like Puffy, Birdman, and Master P, and really they were guys that, yes, they did rap. Yes, they had some hit songs, but there was something in them that they realized, like, I'm not long for this. I need to start getting people under my umbrella.
Long game.
Kind of talking over the track. Yeah, baby. We keep it hot. And then you get
the trends.
Money. Yeah. Because I think a lot of people realize that
you got to watch the weather pattern.
It's a short stay. And the way you stay on top is you kind of keep putting new people out, but you can only put yourself out once, you know?
Yep.
Well, shout out to that. Now, I wanted to ask you this before we got started. I know you've had an interesting career leading you up to stand up and acting. Did you ever have any bad business ideas? And I'll let you think while I'll tell you mine. This was in between me doing medical research. I did medical research at Rhode Island Hospital for 2 years under a grant. And then I just didn't, before I moved to Miami, I didn't have any money. So my job is like, I was going to be a personal concierge, which I guess is called an assistant now.
Okay.
But like, dude, no one would hire me. Like, no one would. And I was like, dude, I'll do, like, I don't know if there's a weird thing where no one wants a black man like doing their butler stuff for them or whatever. I was like, I'd be a good personal assistant, but
you couldn't even get hired to be the help.
Yeah, I really did. I was the help before Olivia. I really did. I tried to do it, and no one would hire me. I forgot. I think it was called like Right on Time something personal concierge service, and I had a business card.
I've known you for years. You always 10 late.
10 is you being real nice. That's
look, I gave you that kind of grace because you're wearing a blazer.
Yeah, man. The blazer doesn't let people know what a trifling human being I was for the first 2/3 of my life. Yeah, and I remember my business card had a pocket watch on it, which I don't know. Like I'm like, yeah, I run as efficiently as 1826.
You got like a little chain coming down off of
Yeah.
Mine was me and my boys from college. We had a website and everything. We had it's funny you said concierge because we had a custom closet concierge service where we'd come. We had 2 clients that he got, and we never really worked on them. We'd come and take pictures of your closet, and we'd arrange your closet and then take pictures of it. And then when you had an event or something, you let us know, and then we'll tell you what to wear.
Oh, you guys were like the original Queer Eye guys.
I got the website done. I'm like, this is before you had websites on your phone.
Yeah.
This is like, you got to get to a computer. Somebody has to go to a computer to find out what to wear.
Yeah, that's not going to work. But Tone, you know what? The good news is your terrible idea and my terrible idea are no longer in existence. But we got our guest, and she's got great ideas. So let's bring her in right now. Naa-Sakle. Yes, look at you.
Hey.
Is that real?
Are you in heaven?
It is. This is real, you guys.
Are you at the Ozarks?
I gave up shea butter and I started a drug run.
Oh, so, there you go. That's what's up.
No, I'm house sitting for my in-laws.
Well, it looks like a nice house. It's nicer than me. I'm in my basement in my soundproof room, my panic room. Tone is in the process of moving. That's why it looks like a 40-year-old.
I don't keep empty shelves up here, but I'm 9 days from not being here. So
yeah, right, you need to explain the lack of trophies.
One day.
So Naa-Sakle, we are gonna get right into this because Tone's got to run. He's got a big Hollywood meeting.
Oh,
so yeah.
Let me go put my shea butter on real quick so I can glow.
Well, Naa-Sakle, we were talking about our failed business plans.
What can you pronounce your name for everybody?
Al's doing it perfectly, but
no, but I didn't hear him, but I wanted because you look at your smile is different. You got to say it with that smile.
Well, actually, so first of all, if you're Ghanaian, I used to, when I was growing up, I used to get you're not saying your name right. So to Ghanaians, Naa-Sakle, but with my American accent, Naa-Sakle.
Naa-Sakle. Oh, okay. All right. See, that's why I had these. Questions are important. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but go ahead.
I'm glad you did, Tone, because I don't want you messing it up, and then we got to go back and edit. All right. So, Naa-Sakle, you started in 2016. You took over, or at first started to work with your mother, who had unfortunately taken ill, Eu'Genia Shea. Can you tell us a little bit about that process where you go from not being involved at all in the business to being a partner to then just taking it over?
So it's interesting because I don't remember if you've met my mom or not, but she has like a lot of thoughts about a lot of things. Even she was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. So like really, really like tough. And after that was having, she had bacterial meningitis. So like in and out of seizures and comas and stuff. And still among all of that was like, I have some things to say. So
I love this woman.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a force of nature. So it was definitely a transition, especially because she just like has so much knowledge, like 15 years in the shea butter space that she was trying to offload onto me over the course of like a couple weeks, trying to take over her business. So very, very different. And I think that now I feel like I've kind of ramped up a little bit. And now my biggest concern there is like making sure to remember to keep her in the loop. Like it was originally her business. Now it's like for the most part mine, but she still has a lot of feelings about it. So like making sure that like when I'm making decisions, I'm keeping her involved still.
Well, that leads me to my first question. I don't know if you know how we do it on this show. This show was kind of inspired by hip hop. Tone and I do a hip hop comedy show. And I've always thought that in hip hop, they leave like little financial Easter eggs in there for you to kind of unpack. And I've always thought about this line. It's a line by Jay-Z, and he says, if somebody would have told him that Hove would sell clothing, not in this lifetime, wasn't in my right mind. I had to smarten up, open the market up. So with that line, how did you see ways to expand your brand that you maybe hadn't thought of and maybe your mom hadn't thought of?
So if you think about like shea butter in general, there's Harlem Street Corner shea butter. There is the shea butter that's in like every other product in your grocery store, like from toilet paper to shampoo. And what I wasn't seeing out there was like really high quality premium luxury shea butter. And so that's kind of like the path that we took, was shea butter. We think of it as a commodity, but it's not really. We think of it as like a low value item, but it's not, like
if
go
just
ahead.
real quick, if you don't know what shea butter is, can you tell us what shea butter is? Just in case. I have a lot of fans who are lack melanin. If you are unfamiliar with what shea butter is, could you give me a quick elevator pitch on shea butter?
Yes. Okay. So shea butter is the greatest thing in the world. I consider it nature's wonder balm. In Ghana, it's called women's gold, and it's essentially a moisturizer. You know what? I'm going to take that back. It's more than just a moisturizer, because actually 90% of the use of shea is in food. But the way that we think of it most often is as a moisturizer.
Nice. See, you got to sprinkle that on people. Sometimes they'll see it and they don't even know.
I'm just like, how has she been sitting on women's gold the whole time? What a way to label a product. It's like I have to go before you on Shark Tank because I can't follow women's gold. All right. Well, Tone, you got the next question. I know you were ready to ask this one, but I don't think you have it in front of you, so I'll handle it.
Thank you, Al.
Yeah, just because you're dressed like a catcher on a weekend afternoon softball game doesn't mean you don't have to prepare.
I didn't know your new NPR show started right now.
We argue with each other most of the time, so it's just like you walked into a fight with an old married couple. Now
that's why my stuff is gone. He took everything.
It looks like your future is now, Tone. Now I gotta ask you, because listening to you talk about shea butter, you seem passionate, and obviously you're a young woman, 32, I believe, 32, 33.
Oh, that's so nice. I am 34.
Oh, well, that's you're still young.
I'm practically dead.
No, you give hope to us. You give no hope to this 43-year-old. But but you're young, and it seems like you're super aggressive about trying to push the concept of shea butter forward. Now, how do you have you found that being aggressive has always worked in the business market, or are there times where you need to temper your aggression and kind of sit back and see where the market's going and then decide your next course?
I definitely think that there are times that I have to sit back, and I haven't done a great job of that, honestly. The first time was thinking about our first production run, like buying the individual tins that we put the shea butter in. I think I bought maybe 3,000 of those tins, like 3,000 per SKU of those tins right off the bat. And that ended up being a mistake. And
do you mind telling us why?
Yeah, sure. So and this was like another lesson of like, trust your gut. But when I sent them the design for the tins, they had a little ridge around the top, and the ridge kind of kept the lid on so that the lid didn't fall off easily. And when they sent me the sample back, it had ridge, but after sending the sample, they're like, actually, we can't do the ridge in mass production, so we're going to have to take that off. And I was like, that stinks. Wish you told me that before, but fine. And did the whole production run, got the tins, and ultimately, like, all the lids fell off. And so
that's a problem.
That was a little bit of a problem.
Yeah, when it comes to jars, yeah.
Yeah. So, and especially because like shea butter melts in the summer. So like can't have like lids falling off plus melting like in transit. That was just a mess. So ended up having.
And I want to stop you right there because you seem like a very measured person. But when you find out that the lids to your product are falling off, do you take a walk? Do you pour a bottle of wine. What do you do to keep, because honestly, and I appreciate you laughing, but I don't think I would have handled that well. I really do. I wish I could make a joke. I would not have handled that well. So like,
I mean, 3,000, let's be honest, this ain't 30. You be mad at 30 of them, but you're talking about, we got boxes.
Yeah, boxes.
This is a big deal. And like, I think a lot of people watching this that are thinking about starting a business, it's not going to be smooth. This ain't a movie that's going to wrap up in an hour 20. That you're going to have major potholes like this. Like, where was your mind at when that happened? How did you calm yourself and then figure out a solution?
I think that when you can be mad at somebody else, then, and I get mad at other people all the time, but like when you can be mad at somebody else, then like I can understand that anger. Like when it was just, I only have myself to blame. Like I knew that it wasn't the right choice and I made it anyway. It's not like they lied to me and told me there were going to be ridges and then there weren't. Like they were straight up about it. And I took I thought like calculated decision and it ended up being wrong. So as much as I would have wanted to be mad at somebody else, it's just me. And how did I deal with it? I mean, I was right out of business school, so saying that I drank is probably fair. But
even in retrospect, when it comes to making that decision, that was either, I mean, you either did it because like was it a time thing too? It had to be like the pressure's on, I got to get this done, and so like that kind of, I've already looked at this, can't be that bad. Did you just like pull the trigger? And
yeah, I was just excited. I just wanted to get going. I just wanted to like get the product out there. And
then what did you learn from that experience though? Like, I mean, just like what'd you keep from that?
Buy fewer of things.
That's great advice.
It's so simple, but that's real.
Yeah. So they say fail fast. And I think that is true. So like I was trying to fail fast. I was like, let's get this out. Let's get this product made. Let me see it. And then we'll sell it. And then we'll move from there. But like, you can't fail fast if you're buying thousands of units of product. And so the counter side to fail fast is like, be reasonable in your planning.
Yeah.
Who's got time to be reasonable? That's not fun. I fail fast. That's what I've been doing my whole career, and I'm still here. Damn
Should
it.
we try him first? You don't have to send them 3,000. Get him here.
That's amazing. Now, you know, it's like I listen to you use the phrase fail fast. Really quickly, can you tell our audience like what that means? That sounds like a business term.
Yeah, so that's like one of those phrases that I don't know, is written in like a million textbooks and like inspirational posters. But the idea is that you're supposed to don't take the time to perfect something, because no matter how perfect you think it is, when it gets out into the market, you're going to find a million things wrong with it. So get something done to the point where like you're not completely embarrassed to have other people try it and see it, get their feedback, integrate their feedback into the next version, get the next version out, and just move from there. Just like constant iteration.
I mean, that's basic Hollywood. That's writing a script too. That's like, I can write something poor and go like, but I got it out of my head. I got this idea out. I gave it to Al, go, hey man, can you read this real quick? But this helps me exchange an idea that I wouldn't normally had. So like that's ideally kind of the same concept, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I think that definitely applies to people, you know, that are starting a business, because this is your baby. So you're gonna want to say, well, you know, I'm selling this can, but I don't really like the why, so we're gonna go back for another 3 months. And then is the B, should that be capitalized? And like by the time you've done that, 2 years has gone by, and maybe the window you have for the market is gone. Where if you just get that out there and somebody goes, that B looks stupid, then you'd be like, okay, cool.
And now you're just sitting there with 3,000 of these
with no lid. That's right. All right, now I feel like a lot of people are looking at you, Naa-Sakle, and they're saying, yes, you have a business. I have an idea. What is the first, do I need to get like a piece of paper and a pen? Do I buy a laptop? Do I need to get something cold in the refrigerator?
I'm gonna do this. What do they do?
What's the first thing? Like the first thing where you're like, I want to take this thing in my head and get it out, like Tone was talking about.
I want to make candles I want to make candles that that smell.
That cater to an African American market, African American male market.
There we go.
Okay.
What's the first thing you would do?
So how do you differentiate those candles? Like, what is the special thing about them? Is it the scent? Is it the packaging? Is it the story? Figure out what of those things it is, and then get a tangible thing of that. So if it's the scent, figure out what scent you like, find a chemist, start ordering like fragrances online and testing those. If it's
samples and stuff.
Right, exactly. If you think that like people are going to buy it because they're going to walk down their aisle and see it and it's going to like call the people, then you're talking about packaging, which is kind of what my first thing was. So then figure out what you think that packaging needs to look like to stand out. If it is the branding in general, then like talk to like a content creator, like talk to a branding agency. But whatever it is, like whatever your unique selling point is going to be, figure it out and then find a way to get that first iteration of that out.
Well, let's talk about your packaging, because I saw you do an interview on that, and you clearly stopped, and that was a big deal for you. What was your thinking as it applied to packaging?
Yeah, so it kind of has to do with what I was saying earlier about shea butter not being a commodity, but like about being a luxury item. And so my thought was that I don't have $1 million to put into advertising. So assuming that I can get on shelf, how do I get people to pick us up instead of another product? And I thought, what is going to like, what have I never seen in store before? And what if you pick it up, even if you don't know what's inside of it, it looks pretty enough that like it connotes luxury and makes me want to figure out what is inside of it. And so I thought, and this is just like, was just me spitballing. Like, I don't actually have research to back this up, but I was like, you don't really see squares on shelf that much. Most of the time, like bottles are circular, they're cylindrical. And so I thought, okay, so something that's square. And then I thought, okay, if it's square, then what is it made of? It probably, now I'm just like on Alibaba, like scrolling through square containers. And looking at square containers on Alibaba, metal ones came up a ton. And so, and I was like, okay, a square metal tin, 1, it was price competitive, 2, it's environmentally friendly, 3, I can make them, a lot of them, like the default was gold. And it's like, okay, so now I'm selling a golden box with something inside like that.
It
that
looks like something Indiana Jones would find.
Yeah.
Right. So that's how that came up. And the design was literally me just drawing on a piece of paper. And then I took that drawing and made something in PowerPoint and sent that to the designer in China. And the designer was like, this isn't how we get designs. PowerPoint doesn't mean anything to us. But they were willing to work with me and made it work.
I appreciate you walking us through that process. And I think that a lot of times brilliance is in simplicity. And, you just looking at like what's going to attract people's eye, what don't I see, and what kind of color will pop on the shelf. And it made me think about, I have a buddy of mine who's a comedian, and he's also a liquor distributor. And he said that hard seltzer has been around, that like basically White Claw before White Claw has been around forever, but it was in the cans that look like this. And White Claw was the first ones to put it in the Red Bull cans, and then they put the calorie count, which I think is 100 or something like that. And it's a skinny bottle, and people that are trying to stay fit want to just drink vodka and water because it's less calories, and they can't keep it on the shelf. So something as simple as something that's already around, which is basically White Claw, is just a vodka soda, mixed with the Red Bull can that's been around forever. They put that together, and it's been a huge hit. And it just seems like, when you get feedback, do a lot of people comment on the packaging?
Yeah, a lot of people do comment on packaging, which is nice because I wanted it to be something that people would see and think was incredibly beautiful. So that's like exactly what I wanted, and it is what people seem to gravitate towards. And luckily when they try the product, they also like the product. But I mean, I get customers writing in like once a week saying that they were in Target, they saw the tin, and they just picked it up and bought it because it looked pretty. They barely even realized what it was. And then they brought it home and liked it, which is nice, but it's pretty much what I thought, like, ooh, something pretty, buy it,
Right.
and then like it.
Well, since the beginning of time, the pretty things draw the eye. It works. I mean, it's like we are no different than our forefathers and foremothers. So definitely, I agree with that. Now, I do have a question for you because I know I know both your brothers. Went to school with them, and you know they're super driven, and I know you are that times 10. And I have a quick anecdote, Tone. I know you have to jump off for a call, but I want you to contribute to this before you got to run, Tone. It's about burnout. I remember when I first decided to sign up for my talk show, it was on an airplane. I was coming back from Japan. I just been in Australia the week before, and it was the first time I was on a flight, and I was like, I love stand-up comedy, but I was like, I think I'm burned out. Tone, have you had a time where you felt like you were burned out?
I mean, so many times, man. I mean, so many times of just like it's that you push, and you might not get that result, but also it's like my old boss said this when I worked for Swivel Media in 2005. It's some of the best advice I ever got. But yeah, you get those burnout periods where you're just over everything, and then he just goes, "I need you to sit back and mentally hit a reset button. I need you to hit a reset button. Restart. Is it the same thing? Probably, but you got to think about it like it's the first time you've ever thought about it. I need you to be invigorated, and I need you to come. You got to give me more than this. You need to hit that restart button."
Is that helpful for you?
Oh, dude, it gave me something. It felt like it gave me something tangible. Almost like it gave me something tangible. I could literally in my mind go, "I'm hitting the button. You know what? I'm reinvigorated about this. I got to find out why I loved it the first time again, to put me back in this mood again. I had to start over mentally. I feel like I've mastered that. I can start over in my head. It's something that's stop what you're doing. Stop thinking so hard. Stop thinking about it. Start over. Why did you love this? Do it again. I mean, it's like that moment after you shoot a special. We both been there. We're like, you shoot an hour of material you've been working on for a couple of years, and then you get down to square one. Right. You go, what do I do now? Reset button.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. And that's the question. And Tone, I know you got to run.
They're already in the car. I really have to jump off.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. I have more questions.
I'm buying me some women's gold, by the way.
All right. You know, we were talking about being burned out. I was just wondering, how does somebody that's like you, that seems to have a super calm demeanor, but I know this must take up how many hours of your day every day? You are the boss. You are responsible if it's successful. If it's a failure, that's a lot of pressure. How do you balance your mental health, but you being able to push forward without burning out? And also, how do you juggle that with a relationship?
So we are lucky in that, well, one, I'm lucky in that I don't report to anybody else. So it's not like I have a boss who is going to be mad at me if I don't get something done on time. That's me. That's me getting mad at myself if I don't get something done on time. But that is like a little bit of like a pressure release valve. Also, on the one hand, nothing really gets done unless I do it, in terms of moving the business forward. But we are at a point where things can stay steady pretty well. Things like work pretty autonomously for the right now, for the present.
Right.
And so, you know, every once in a while, like maybe once a year or something, if I just don't feel like getting out of bed, I won't. And that's my reset, you know?
So you're saying you actually listen to your body rather than having to go check in somewhere. I think that's great advice. Like, I think a lot of people are like, the days you don't want to get out of bed and run 10 miles. It's like, no, maybe your body's trying to tell you, lay your butt back down and binge watch something.
Yeah. Yes. I need sleep. I need alone time. I need time. I need creative time. Like I feel like you enter a business and at the beginning, so much of it is like brainstorming the brand and thinking of packaging and like all of these like quote unquote fluffy things, necessary things, but like kind of technically fluffy. And in that they're creative, which I shouldn't equate fluffiness with creativity, but I used to be in finance, so that's kind of what it feels like to me.
You're like, if it's not numbers, it doesn't matter. I love it. Financial people make the world go round.
But so yeah, now it's like half of my day is in a spreadsheet, and that's not actually fun. That's not fun. And so just like taking a second and like focusing on the creative thing, or taking a second and getting an hour more of sleep, or, you know, cutting out early to go to the gym, just things to care about yourself.
First of all, that's great advice. And second of all, and almost more importantly, I really appreciate the honesty with the way that you're talking about business, because I think you watch a documentary, you watch a 1 hour kind of Netflix thing about how this company got started, or especially like a movie where like somebody shoots up in bed, they have an idea, they go scribble it on a piece of paper, then they cut to a scene where, you know, people are sewing it together, and then they cut to a scene where it's on the shelves, and then they cut to a scene where they're on a yacht and everything is great. But the stuff they cut out is you sitting there with a spreadsheet saying, if I look at one more, I don't care about how we did in March. I don't care about anything. I'm going to do something really bad if I look at one more number.
Yeah.
So I really do appreciate it. Maybe like, can you talk to our audience about maybe how much time they should be prepared to deal with the, like you said, the non-fluffy things, because they're almost the more important thing. How much time they should expect to spend on that, and maybe how they should know if they need to delegate their responsibility to somebody else.
So I think in terms of expectations, first of all, take the part of your current job that you like the least, the amount of time you spend on that, assume that you're going to spend twice as much time on annoying things that you don't like when it's your own business. I think that is like a huge misconception of like, you know, I'm starting my own business and it's going to be great. I'm just going to focus on the things I love. That is absolutely not true. You're going to get bogged down by the things you do not care about that end up being like weirdly important. I think in terms of delegating, I have tried to delegate the things that take me. So essentially delegate away your comparative disadvantage. So, you know, comparative advantage is like my husband and I, if one of us does the dishes, like I can do it faster. That's my comparative advantage. His comparative advantage is, I don't know, like fixing the toilet. You know, like if we both sat down and tried to fix it, like it would take him less time. So he should go do that. So delegate away your comparative disadvantage. Delegate away the things that you are like efficiency wise. Delegate away the things that you are not as good at. So like maybe we could both fix that toilet, or maybe when he fixed it, it would work like more smoothly than when I fix. I don't know why I'm on this toilet thing. Anyway,
we're here now. We're going to stay right here on the toilet. But no, it makes perfect sense. I think that the same type of personalities that are watching the show are driven to be in business for themselves because they have an idea, they have a passion. And I think a lot of people are scared that the employees that they hire will not share that same passion. And I don't know if that's an unfair request for somebody to have the same passion about shea butter that you do. So when you're looking for somebody to work with or to work for you, what do you look for besides just a genuine interest in the product? Or do they not have to have any interest at all?
Yeah, so I'm really looking for competency and affordability. And I think that sometimes to my detriment, I have placed more value on like low cost help, whether that's like free interns, whether that is, super discounted, like friend of friend work. I have said, okay, I'm going to take this cheaper option because like I just don't have the cash for it right now. And then ultimately that's just been wasted money because like they haven't been as competent as I'd wanted them to be. Right. So I think those two things, competency and affordability, but in equal measure.
That makes sense. Now I'm looking at your background. It's giving me like a little bit of military vibes, and I know you went to the Sephora boot camp where you learned different aspects of the business. So I wanted to get you to speak a little bit about what that Sephora boot camp experience was like, and what is what are one or two pieces of information that you pulled out of there that you know it would have taken you a long time, if ever, to have come up with?
So I first of all have loved being part of the Sephora Accelerate program. And I've had a bunch of other accelerator programs that have been great too. Like I was part of, Tory Burch has a fellowship that was fantastic. Target also has a fellowship, an accelerator that's really, really good. And I think each of them taught me different things that I needed at the time. So when I was first starting out, the Sephora program kind of introduced me to luxury beauty. Like I'm not wearing makeup now. I've never really been that much into beauty. I'm also very cheap. So like buying like luxury skincare and stuff like wasn't really like something that I kind of gravitated towards. And so that program was like especially useful in introducing me to that world. The Target one was great in terms of like introducing me to mass retail, for the Mother Shea brand that we also launched. Tory Burch was great to see, like, it sits in a foundation. It's the Tory Burch Foundation. So seeing how they have made like social entrepreneurship work essentially, was really, really cool. In terms of what I've learned from them, I think that the first one was ask for help, like always ask for help. And not just when you think you need it. And I guess then the question is like, how do you ask for help if you don't know that you need it? But just like being really open about what you're working on at any given time, and like the road bumps, the road bumps.
Bumps in the road.
Thank you. The bumps in the bumps in the road that you're experiencing.
Road bumps sound like something you tell your dermatologist about. I'm getting these road bumps under
road
here.
Bumps.
That magic shave.
Yeah, the bumps in the road that you're encountering. And even if you don't think that anybody can solve it, or even if you don't think that there is something to be solved, just like saying it out loud puts your need in people's minds. And like, I had a friend from high school. I mentioned something at a bar literally 4 years ago. And then last summer she reached out and was like, hey, like, I remember that you wanted to meet so-and-so. Like they are connected to the firm that I work at now. Like, do you want to try and see if we can make that happen? And just putting your need into the world. People want to help you, assuming you aren't horrible. Like, assuming you're not like the worst person ever. Most people want to help you and most people wish you well. So just put it out there and see what you can get back.
It's great to hear you say that, because my father used to say most people want to help you. And it's, I think a lot of people are connectors as well, where, I'm probably 1 degree away from somebody that's just my friend, but you're like, oh my God, I know their dad does this. I'd love to meet them. I'm like, oh, you talking about Brian? I think that like a lot of times you don't know who you know and vice versa. So I think, forming those just genuine relationships, you never know what could happen. Now, my question with you in terms of your business, and we're going to start to wrap up here, but this is like a segment that I love. We call it Young Bucks, because I'm going to need you to like transport yourself into a time machine.
Yeah.
All right. You're in this time machine and you're going back and you're running into you right before you started in the business world. You got 10 seconds to give yourself advice. What would you tell yourself?
Have spent less money. Have saved more money.
That's great. Now, would you say that you spent money, too much money up front on product when you should have kind of put it out there and then made tweaks, or you made money and then you spent that money too quickly?
I think that both. I think that one, I mean, to be fair to myself, I went into the business with a fair amount of savings, which I was very, very, very lucky. Like I said, I was in finance before, but you always need more. So I wish that now I'm thinking about that. I lived in New York also. So now I'm thinking about like that $50 meal I didn't need,
Right.
why did I do that? I want that money back. So be more frugal throughout the entire process, like before you start your business and after you've started your business. And back to what I said before, also fail fast, but fail fast in a way that isn't just you like dumping money out the door.
That makes a lot of sense. And I mean, when I think about like the first time I was incorporated, I didn't understand what that meant at all. Like literally, I didn't know. I was just like, LegalZoom said I'm a business. I knew nothing. And then I started to learn more about the business part of it. And as I move forward with my business and kind of move things underneath it, final piece of advice for anybody, because we're starting to see a lot of brands kind of pairing up. Actually, this week was the first week that Run DMC partnered with Adidas. They made the song My Adidas, and that was kind of legendary because up until then, hip hop and commercialism never, it was almost a across the bear if you were considered commercial, and then they kind of made it cool. What do you think the perfect partner would be for Shea Butter?
For my business?
Yes, for your business.
Okay.
Eu'Genia Shea. I'm going to make sure I say it right.
So, sorry. Do you mean like if I were to choose a brand ambassador or if I were to be acquired?
Like a brand ambassador.
Okay.
Like,
okay.
do you think like maybe would it be great to get like an influencer to do it? Would it be great to have it mentioned in a song? Like, what do you think the best way to reach people are for products that are kind of skin related products in 2020?
Ooh, Queen Bee. I just want. I mean, if we're setting our sights high, I'm just going to say Beyonce.
She's the Oprah book club of Shea Butter.
Yes, she
because
always
if she
looks
puts
flawless.
Eu'Genia Shea on her body, like I can't get you for an interview anymore. Like I got to go through 5 people.
And I'm just saying, I don't know what she uses now, but I feel like it could help.
Well, I love it. I just want to tell you, I appreciate you on behalf of Tone. We really appreciate you coming on our show. We will have you back, but we're not going anywhere until you tell us how we can find out more about Eu'Genia Shea and where we can purchase it, because that's more important.
Thank you. Okay, so Eu'Genia Shea, we're currently sold in Anthropologie, Macy's, and then Credo and the Detox Market, which are like natural beauty stores. And then we also have a second brand called Mother Shea, and that's what launched in Target in December.
Okay, now I have a real problem with you. You let me mispronounce it. I'm from Ohio. I'm saying Eu'Genia Shea like she's a mean bus driver. Oh, Miss Eu'Genia Shea, you better get down. Like, okay, pronounce it correctly so then I can go back and edit and correct I tried.
No, you did. So, and that's the confusing thing, because my mom's name is Eugenia and it was named after her. So, easy mistake to make. I say Eu'Genia Shea.
Okay.
That means the origin of goodness. And so it's kind of,
I love that.
Like a little, yeah. But I don't mind it when people say Eu'Genia Shea, because it's like, it is named after my mom. That's fine.
All right. Well, that's a beautiful thing. And how's your mom doing now?
She's good. Yeah, she's doing really well. Thanks.
Oh my goodness. I mean, stage 4 colon cancer, bacterial meningitis, and she's still out there doing her thing. That's as inspiring as you are. On behalf of our audience, we appreciate you just talking and just being so real, just to be able to talk to somebody in business that doesn't seem stuffy, that doesn't seem irritated with answering questions, but at the same time, you have brands in major stores, and we just appreciate you taking time here on Sufficient Funds.
Thanks for having me on. This was really fun.
We're going to bother the hell out of you till you come back. So watch where you thank me, because I'm going to bother you. But it's been a pleasure. Always good to talk to you, sis.
Good to talk to you too.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.